BarbacoaCore.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you for checking out the BarbacoaCore Podcast. I am your host, Patrick Huerta. Today I have a special guest. I brought back doing interviews via Zoom, of course, to the podcast. And this was a good one. It's with Larry Garza. It was just good to get a check up on him, see how he's doing, and just this one we just talked about bands that we liked pretty much. We didn't really touch on comedy. I just checked in on him, see how he was doing, and then we just nerded out on music, which is kind of like one of my favorite things to do. And it's very rare that I get to nerd out and talk band shit these days. So this was a lot of fun, man. I've known Larry for a while, in the comedy scene, but we really didn't sit down and talk. We didn't really know anything about each other. And then we did a show in Laredo a couple of months back, actually a lot of months back. And him and I drove out there. Well, he drove out there and I rode with him. And that was our first time actually talking. And we found out we had a lot in common. We like a lot of the same musics. We even found out that we went to a lot of the same concerts back in the day, which is pretty cool. Small world. San Antonio is a very small world, a small town, I guess. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun. That's all I'm going to do for the intro. I'm going to get into it real quick. Just want to say my social media at your homie Pat. That's Twitter, Instagram. Also check out on Instagram the antisocial comedy. They're doing a lot of shows, and I've been doing podcasts with them as well, which have been a lot of fun. You could catch those on YouTube or any other platforms for podcasts. And make sure to support Larry. Larry has a lot of stuff going on right now. He could really use your help and support. And so he has a merch shop set up on Teesprings. So if you go to teesprings.com and just search Larry Garza Comedy, you'll be able to see like all his shirts and stuff. So you'll get merch and you're also helping him out, which is, kind of a win-win type of situation. You can follow Larry on Instagram at Larry Garza Comedy. I believe that's correct. I should be more prepared, I guess, but yeah, he'll say it at the end, but I think it's Larry Garza Comedy. And then even if you just want to like send him money, you could Venmo him. That's also at Larry Garza. At Larry Garza on Venmo if you want to help out and stuff. Dude's going through a lot, but he's staying positive. He's keeping his sense of humor, and that's very inspiring. So yeah, just want to do a short intro, get into this very special guest that I have today on the BarbacoaCore Podcast. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for listening, and we'll check in on you next week. All right, take care. My guest today is none other than Larry Garza.
Yay! What's up, Patrick? How's it going, man?
Good, man. And this is just an audio podcast, but I want to let y'all know that Larry is wearing one of my BarbacoaCore shirts. So
right.
That's
and
pretty
that's
awesome.
all I'm wearing.
That's all. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing. I've been better, but I'm doing okay. The cancer came back in May. So it's been really aggressive, and I've been on immunotherapy since August. But it's one of those mixed bags because the cancer coming back obviously sucks. It coming back during a pandemic, super sucks. Going to the ER as many times as I have really sucks. But the pandemic has enabled my wife to work from home, the kids to go to school from home. It like took away anything that I would have potentially missed because of my illness. And it's kept us all inside. And so it's kind of this 60-40 pro con kind of deal, because if it wasn't for the shutdown, I probably wouldn't be able to continue doing my 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
My wife would probably have to quit her job and all that stuff. So I know we're starting off pretty depressing, but that's the reality right now.
I mean, that's reality. That's I want to check in on you, see how you're doing, and if that's what's going on with you, then why not talk about it?
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know me, I've had stage 4 kidney cancer since 2016. It went from the right kidney, got that removed. Middle lobe of my right lung, got that removed. Then it went to my brain that year, and I had seizures, and I was pretty much checking out. But I made it, and I was solid till 2019 in September, when it came back to the left kidney, and I had a partial resection, and then it came back again in May, like I said, and it's not operable. So they've been doing this immunotherapy treatment that I think's been working pretty good.
Yeah. How's the side effects of that?
Minor, man. I'm really lucky because there's hardcore side effects that they warn you about. But really, mainly, I've just had irritation on the top of my hands. I've been kind of hoarse, blisters in my mouth, and all that sort of nonsense. Stomach issues. But yeah, the only life-changing thing, and you're the first I'm saying publicly, I have a piss bag now. Like a colostomy bag, but for piss. So that's another good thing about the pandemic is I don't have to go anywhere because it's hella embarrassing. I have like special underwear to hold it and all that shit. But that's been the biggest life-changing experience with this round with the cancer is that I had to get a nephrostomy to put in to give my kidney a break from filtering, my blood and shit into urine. So
is that a permanent thing?
They say that indefinite is what they like to say.
Indefinite.
So there's a possibility if everything goes great, I can get it removed. But it seems like something I'm just gonna have to live with.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Kerry Von Erich didn't have a foot. Did you know that?
No. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Kerry Von Erich lost a foot in a car accident, and that was before he went to WWF. So he actually had a fake leg. That's why he wore tall boots.
No way. I never knew that stuff, man.
I found that out in the Dark Side of the Ring. So if you ever watched the Von Erich's episode of Dark Side of the Ring, they talk about that. It's pretty badass.
I got to check that one out, man.
Big Von Erich fan.
Yeah. So throughout this whole thing, you've been able to keep your sense of humor about stuff. I know K-Set did a story about you. With all that.
Because it's been since 2016 that I've had it. And this isn't the worst it's been. Because during the brain tumor months and the seizures and the planning your funeral and doing all that, it hasn't been that dark. And the fact that I have my 2 kids and my wife with me by my side, with the exception of the hospital, it's kind of reversed. Like when I was in the hospital, my wife was next to me, I had, all the support. And then at home, I would be alone while they were at school and work or what have you. But now the times that I've been in the hospital, which has been quite often, I'm alone because of the pandemic, which sucks.
Yeah.
But now that I'm at home, I have them all. So, still being funny about it, still being silly and, making jokes. I joke about the piss bag. I joke about, how I'm feeling, and that, I make light of it, which is it's a defense mechanism, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to do stuff like that. But you've been keeping busy. You've been doing a podcast, a virtual podcast tour, and doing comedy shows.
I've been zooming like a mother. Oh, can we guys?
Oh yeah. Do whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah, I've been zooming like a motherfucker. Like I was kind of like, I knew it was an audio podcast, Patrick, but I was like, I hope it's just like a phone, so I'm not on Zoom again. And when you said the Zoom link, I'm like, fuck it, let's do it, dude.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
No, don't say you're bad. It's I'm used to it. It's just Zooming is now a part of you can't consider yourself a comedian if you don't have an active Zoom
Yeah, for sure. And I was trying not to do it. I stopped doing interviews. You've been the first interview that I've done in a while.
Thank you very much.
Just because of this whole disconnect. But I was like, you know what? Larry's doing other people's podcasts. He's got to do mine now.
I'm really glad. I'm not one to ask to, why haven't you asked me on the podcast? But I was like, me and you really hit it off in Laredo. And I was like, oh, sweet. I want to be on a Barbacoa podcast. And
man.
I was like,
you said you're going to bust out your Casio keyboard so we can start a synth band.
Yes, dude. I have that in my son's room. Yeah, we could have been like Zombie and fucking Goblin, bro.
Yeah, dude. And so that's the thing. So we don't know too much about each other. That drive that we had, we did a show in Laredo that you were headlining. Yeah. What was it? The Laredo Laugh Fest, or it became the Laredo Laugh Fest or something?
Because Aaron Suarez booked literally, what was it, 8 comics?
It was a lot.
8 to 10 comics to do spots, and I called it the Laredo Laugh Festival.
Yeah. So I was a little bit nervous about that. That was gonna be the first time that we had to sit down and actually talk. We had a couple hours to just talk and get to know each other. Yeah. And I'm a huge music nerd, rock fan, metal fan, whatever, been in bands and stuff. So when we got to start talking about that, I was like, oh man, this is fucking great. Like that drive just like it just was so short too.
I think I was listening to Russian Circles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh dude, you dig Russian Circles? I was like, yeah, so I'm open for Mastodon, and it just
Yeah. And then you also try to play a joke on me too. You're like, yeah, I'm just trying out these new seizure medicines, and then you pretend to have a seizure. And I was like, oh shit, this is.
Did I do that?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I was starting to get just relax and chill and saying it's safe here, nothing's gonna go bad, and then you're just like you fall over and start shaking. I was like, oh fuck, what do I do?
I don't remember that. I try not to joke about seizures, but if you say so, I believe you. I normally I give people warning because it looks like I'm popping pills when I take my seizure medicine at 7.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, I just need a little bump.
Yeah. So what do you listen to now? Like, have you been... Like, I know, we're older now, so for a while, I was just stuck into what I like. I'm not looking for any new music. Are you kind of the same way with that?
Absolutely. I absolutely am. I'm a big Mike Patton nerd, I think we were talking about. And I've been, revisiting, some older Tomahawk. That's been my, release from all the politics and stuff like that, is watching full live concerts on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I go back to to the early 2000s, and I saw one of my favorite shows was when the Melvins opened up for Tomahawk, and the bass player for the Melvins was the bass player for Tomahawk. So he would just stay on stage with just this rhythm while they set up Tomahawk's drums and Mike Patton's fucking awesome setup, and the guitarist from Jesus Lizard comes out, and they start a song, and the bass player just never stops. He's there for fucking 2 hours, which is incredible. But as far as new music, honestly, no. I mean, I've been listening to more hip hop and stuff that my daughter shows me. She's 15.
Oh yeah.
And so there's nothing heavy anymore. I mean, Travis Reyes sent me that really hardcore Republican 5-finger death punch video. Did you see that?
I couldn't watch it. I never liked them to begin with.
Me neither. I'm so happy that I didn't like him, because I would have been so upset. But there was always something douchey about him.
Yeah.
And then when that came out, I was just like, oh, okay, cool, all right, it's cool. I'm so glad I didn't like him.
Yeah. But can't you find the humor in that? I mean, yeah, it's an opposing political side, but can't you go oh, okay, I could see that they're making a joke out of it, trying to make light of it, calling people sheeps and stuff, and dude, would that turn you off of if Mike Patton was a right winger?
Came out right winger. There's some right wingers that are I'm trying to think Reverend Horton Heat is hardcore Republican, probably racist as fuck, and I still love his music.
Yeah.
So there's that example there. like, it would shock me if the Reverend Horton Heat wasn't a Trump supporter. Like, he's who I put up there with it. With Patton, I saw him do a show with Dead Cross. Well, he was in Dead Cross.
Yeah.
He's in so many bands. But when I saw him perform at Emos, he was talking shit about Trump, and they redid Nazi punks fuck off. I forgot what band does that. Dead Kennedys. And so he's super. I wouldn't call him liberal or whatever, but he definitely doesn't like Trump. And I think that there's a big difference there. I know that because of Tipper Gore in the 80s and Dee Snider going to Senate
with the whole
Frank
censorship
Zappa
stuff.
And she's a hardcore Democrat. There's a lot of, like, I know Dave Mustaine's a Republican. If you follow Tom Araya from Slayer, he's hardcore Trump supporter, and his wife's a fucking mega Karen, dude. And like to the max, like kind of racist shit and like anti-abortion shit. And wow. I'm like from the singer of Dead Skin Mask comes this all lives matter. Like, what the fuck, dude? Give me a break. Yeah, but I can see it from the point of being a metal band that's using satanic imagery and stuff like that, and have someone like Tipper Gore come out and call you evil and want your shit like removed from shelves. That affects you personally. So then that you just stay on that Republican ticket, and turns you into whatever you turn into, old white man eventually.
So how did you get into Mike Patton?
So my sister liked him, during the Real Thing era, and she liked Anthony Kiedis, liked Mike Patton, and there was always that comparison with the Chili Peppers and Faith No More. And so she bought the Real Thing on CD. It was like one of her first CDs, and back when the CDs came in those big cardboard things that wasted half of the and so I was 10 when she got it, and I used to listen to all of her like albums, right? Like, she had Master of Puppets, she had Killer Dwarves, Anthrax, Megadeth. Like that was the shit that my sister listened to, because she was a metalhead. She's 10 years older than me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so I dug it, but then I also liked rap, like myself. Like, I was 10 years old, so I liked, fucking Bobby Brown and MC Hammer and all that sort of shit.
It's so funny you say rap and then you're like, Bobby Brown.
Well, it's because if you listen to our old podcast, my favorite song forever was from the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack. Well, I guess we're gonna have to take control. Fucking love, because he raps in that song. Anyway, so when Epic came out and it was like rap rock,
that hook,
I was all about it. And so then I would listen to the rest of the album, and like Zombie Eaters was my favorite song, because it was because I was a kid. I was like I said, 10 years old, and it was about a little baby who liked toys, and I liked toys at the time, and it just really spoke to me. So then fast forward to when Angel Dust came out, and I was like 12 or whatever. And this is back when there were singles, like audio cassette singles. And so I chose, my mom, they're like $3, and my mom was like, you can get one. And so I had to choose between Give It Away from the Chili Peppers and Midlife Crisis by Faith No More. And I was really happy to choose Midlife Crisis, because the flip side, oh man, I forgot what, I think it was Small Victory, or I forgot what song was on the flip side of the Midlife Crisis single. So I got into that, and then I did it afterwards. I didn't have any access until I went to college. And then my buddy Jess, who's in Community Go-Go with me, was listening to I think King for a Day or something like that, like one of those later albums. And I was like, oh, I like Faith No More, and I still had the long-haired Mike Patton in my head. And he was like, oh yeah, dude, they broke up like 6 years ago, and they had like 3 other albums. And he did Phantomus, and he did Tomahawk, and he's just coming out with Tomahawk, and I was like, what? And so then I had that whole that's when new music was fun, was when Epicac, that album, or I'm sorry, the record label came out. They put out the Melvins, they put out, Queens of the Stone Age and all that kind of like Milk Banana kind of locust noisecore shit. And I really dug it. Plus I really dug Tomahawk, and it was kind of like old school Faith No More. And then I discovered Bungle. I knew Mr. Bungle existed, but I didn't have access to them until I met my buddy Jess, and so he let me fucking burn all 3 of their CDs. And I got their first one, Disco Volante, in California, and I was just like, everything he did I thought was great, until I heard Matador and all that fucking bullshit with John Zorn, and I was like, I'm not into everything.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what'd you think about Peeping Tom, his Peeping Tom project?
I dug Peeping Tom. I thought he bit off a little more than he could chew.
Yeah, it was a little bit much.
Because he was saying that, if I put out a pop record, I know how to put out a pop record.
Yeah.
And so he did, and dude, he was on Conan. Like, he was really pushing it with that Rozelle beatboxer guy. Had Nina Cherry on it, and like, there's some really, really good songs on there. But I think the lyrics are a tad corny. Yeah. And I really dug the album, but I think he put it out at the same time as Gorillaz put out Demon Days, and that just fucking
that doesn't compete at all. Yeah. Doesn't compete at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, man. I found Tomahawk through Helmet, because John Stainer is a drummer from Tomahawk, and he's one of my big influences and stuff.
Yeah, you're a drummer, right?
I'm trying to get back into it, but yeah, I was a drummer for many years.
He has his cymbals super high.
Yeah, with Battles, he puts that one Crash Ride cymbals way up. It's very annoying, but he's a great drummer. Yeah. But that Tomahawk album was like just mind blowing. All the mixtures that it had in it, and he does a lot of vocal effects. Could really make something out of nothing. And it's
absolutely,
it's very great.
So like in 2001, Tomahawk's self-titled album came out, and he was just shitting out music. Like, he was just putting out so much stuff, which was awesome. But we all wanted a Faith No More reunion. So at Download Fest in 2009, you were able to fucking pay to, see a band streaming. Like, it wasn't as common as it is now. Yeah. Right? It was 11 years ago. And so they had the reunion at Download Fest. And it was like the fucking biggest thing in my world at the time. And they all came out wearing red, and he had a cane, and the first song they sang was Reunited and It Feels. But then we're stuck in this fucking time warp. They toured for 11 years, bro. No, I'm a liar. They toured for 8 years. And you look back at how long they were together from 89 to 95. You're like, oh wow, it's the same amount of time.
Oh yeah.
And then they put out a new record, which was really good. And I'm hating myself for forgetting the name of it, but yeah, they had Separation Anxiety was a good song on there. Superhero is a good song on there, and Fuck Me For, but it was on Epicac since Faith No More left Warner Brothers or whatever. And that's a great album. And and I got to see him live in 2015. Yeah, which was killer in Houston.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then one of my favorite Dillinger albums, Dillinger Escape Plan, is the one that he did.
Yes,
that's fucking so sick.
That's one of my favorite albums ever. And what's the drummer's name? Chris
Penny.
Chris Penn. Yeah, Chris Penny. His set is so fucking simple. Yes, and the drums in that album are fucking incredible. Yeah. That is one of my favorite albums of all time. Yeah, like this period, top 5 albums period, and it's an EP with a cover.
Yeah,
they did come.
Go ahead.
Trying to get. No, I was gonna say with "Come to Daddy" by the Aphex Twins. I think is what it's called.
Yeah. And I like Dillinger. I like stuff like that, like the spastic kind of just chaotic rock. I could never play stuff like that. I'm more of a groove type of drummer.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm just now like the reason why I brought it up, like finding new music and stuff, because I was like that too. I was just stuck into like just what I know. But I'm trying to get into like discovering new music, but it's not as
It's
it's
hard.
not as fun as it was before. Like remember like just
It's
buying like a
so
bunch of
much.
like just trash albums or just albums just based on artwork like at CD
Yeah.
Exchange, you know?
Yes.
And then you just read the liner notes like nobody does liner notes anymore and like
Nobody does liner notes or lyrics or fucking
yeah.
anything. Yeah, it
What's
sucks.
sad is like everything now is just so throwaway. Like it's you download it, you hear it, like you don't even know the names of the songs or what you're listening to. You just have it running nonstop. You know?
What's helped me like discover new music or uh discover old bands was at the time going to like festivals. Like when I went to Housecore Horror Fest, I had never heard Autopsy before in my life, and I dug them. And then YOB,
Yeah.
you know, seeing them live was fucking badass. Not at this concert, but what's that fucking band called? Job for a Cowboy. Then I went to another concert and they opened for Cannibal Corpse. Black Dahlia Murder, which I like a lot. And so like opening bands, like I was telling you about Russian Circles and Zombie, you know, I saw them at a concert. And so that to me is like kind of the old school way of discovering new music is seeing them live. And you got to give kudos to the bands that you paid to see by like booking badass bands to open for them so they can gain a fucking following.
Yeah, that's great, man. Like just putting together a show like that just to help out up and coming bands. Like that was a fun way to find new bands. The liner notes, like I said, like anytime they said thank you and they list all the bands that they would tour with that year before.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I bought the Blindside album and that's how I found Norma Jean, and then Norma Jean became like one of my biggest fans.
Oh, dude. Well, Norma Jean's first album is the only album I liked, but it's one of my favorite albums. Like I went and bought merch and shit like that. Yeah, dude. Fucking what is it? Spare the Martyr.
Bless the child or blessed. Kiss the child, bless the martyr.
There you go. That's one of my favorite. Like Norma Jean's a badass fucking hardcore band. I also dig Refused. You remember Refused?
Refused were great.
Yeah, the new rock era or some shit like that. I fucking so that like that the hardcore scene, I know metalheads thought it was kind of, you know, wimpy or whatever, but I really dug it. And you know, you have great bands came out of that, like Dillinger, Ski Plan and stuff like that. So.
It's hard now. Like it's like what I could not stand Pandora, the music app Pandora. Because they would tell you that they're going to link you up to similar artists, but all they do is like, oh, well, that last band had a guitar. This band also has a guitar. So they're like the same band. I was like, that's not, they don't sound anything alike.
Well, Spotify's been pissing me off too, because I'll put on a band that I like and then I'll play their radio so then I can hear maybe some new shit that I hadn't heard before. And all it does is just has the fucking algorithm of the shit that you like. And you're just, I'm like, why is Primus on the fucking Deftones channel? Like, why is you know, I'm like, I love both bands, but it's just because that's what I fucking play a lot. So. I've been in this big Mastodon kick ever since I saw the Emperor of the Sand documentary on YouTube. They just released. It was made in 2016, but they just released it on their YouTube channel. And I didn't know that whole album was a concept album about cancer.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
like from whose perspective? Like, does somebody in the band have it, or one of their family members?
Yeah, Bill, their guitarist, mother died while they were writing the song.
Wow.
Writing the album, and then Troy's wife, the bass player, his wife got cancer. Oh. She's still alive, thank God. But so Braun, the drummer, is like watching the documentary. He was like, "Oh, he's the head of the leader of the band," you know. Like he wrote a bunch of songs that were about fighting, you know, this Emperor of the Sand, which was death and cancer and getting rid of it. And it's, you know how fucking mythological Mastodon is with their songs and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I've been really into Mastodon a lot lately.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was another thing that you kind of gave me shit for, because we were talking about, like, I don't pick up on words. Like a singer's voice is their instrument, you know. And so we were talking about Coheed, and you're like, yeah, this whole thing, it's like the comic book,
but the comic book,
type of storyline. I was like, oh, really? He's like, dude, it's there in the words. Like, you're just
I was like, I didn't know that either. A friend of mine told me.
Yeah.
And so then after listening to it, because I think Obsolete by Fear Factory, that's another concept album that correlates with a comic book that they created. Yeah, you're supposed to read the comic book with the album, and so that Good Eye Sniper, it's like their parents are fucking in a helicopter with a sniper rifle trying to kill him. Like, so it's pretty cool.
But and sometimes that could get me in trouble too, because there's this band called Floor, and they have a song called Tales of Lolita, right? And I had no idea what that meant, but like, you know how like you can share a song, and like I was like, man, I'm feeling this song right now, because the opening part, like the riffs are so good, and the rhythm is really great, but like now, well, especially with the whole Epstein thing, and like you hear Lolita this, Lolita that, I was like, I've been sharing this song for years, saying I feel this record.
Lolita was a book written a long time ago, and a movie that came out in like the late 50s, early 60s, and it was just you know, justifying it was that whole pedophile's fantasy of a young girl coming on to an older guy, and that's where that term comes from. So it's been around for a while. Like, anytime I like Jeffrey Irons redid Lolita, and it just creeped me out. And what was really odd is right before the fuck was that Netflix movie everyone was having a big deal over it? Yeah, Cuties. Right before Cuties came out, Netflix put the original Lolita on, and I had never seen it. And I was just like, all right, let me see how fucking creepy this is. And I couldn't get past the first 3 minutes, because you see this guy like salivating over a 14-year-old, and like the opening credits is just a little girl's toe balancing like a high heel like on her foot, and I'm just like, I'm good. This is fucking weird, dude.
I can't go with that.
I have a daughter, bro. Like, this is, but at the same time, it's hard for me to dislike certain Michael Jackson songs. Like, I love Michael Jackson songs, but guy's a fucking child rapist, like a straight up child rapist. Yeah. And then Faith No More has that song Edge of the World. And that's about a pedophile like seducing a little girl, and it's a beautiful song. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful song with that subject.
Yeah. He's hold me closer, I want you here. He's like he goes, what does he say? It doesn't matter that I'm 40 years older. Yeah, and there's a come closer now. Would you like some candy? Like, these are the lyrics.
Yeah.
And he goes, look in my eyes, girl. I'm no criminal, but I'd kill my mother to be with you, be with you, be with you. Yeah, and so it's talking about a guy going to like Thailand, a fucking seduce a child. But it's like Mike Patton sings the fuck out of it. Beautiful piano. It's like a loungy song, but you sit back and again, I was 10 years old, so I didn't fucking know what I thought. Offering candy to it, like candy.
Yeah, I like candy.
Like what you offer. Yeah, exactly, right. And then as I got older, and I'm singing it all passionately, I was like, wait, oh no, fuck, right? Like, I was like, this is one of my favorite Faith No More songs, and okay.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't listen to lyrics. I just like the whole thing as a picture. If it sounds good, if there's a groove to it. Yeah. But now, if you don't listen to everything, you don't dissect everything, it's gonna get you in trouble. But I should have known, man, because there's the hook in that song that tells the Lolita song, like, I don't want to wait until we're old enough. But I thought they were both kids. I didn't know that she was a kid and he wasn't.
Dude, I don't blame you, man. Like, you can't.
The riff is so good.
Jam out. Yeah. Like the riff.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with it, man. It's just like, I was really getting into Gigi Allen. and I wasn't like paying attention to the song titles or anything like that. I was just looking up Murder Junkies and just like interested in him as a person or whatever. He says he got his best ass kicking in San Antonio. That's a quote from GGO.
Oh wow!
And I got on Spotify. I got his music shit. It's terribly produced, and it's all about like raping kids and murder. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm not that hardcore.
I think he was more of a visual artist, like the it's better live. Like when you take it home, it doesn't have that same effect, and it shouldn't have that same effect. You know,
exactly. But if you're getting human feces thrown at you by this naked guy wanting to fight you, and he's screaming about like fucking a corpse, it's like this all kind of goes together, I suppose.
I prefer gore. I know that stuff is just water-based food coloring and stuff.
It's just fun. It's just fake, earth toilet, bro.
I love that shit. I love that shit.
Lead singer went on to back to his planet, unfortunately. So
cool, man. I just want to get you on. I know it's late and stuff because you had to enjoy the debates.
It was an actual debate for once.
I couldn't watch this one. I already voted, so like nothing's gonna.
Oh, I already voted too.
Oh, you just wanted to watch the plane crash or the train crash?
Yeah, and it wasn't one, and I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you going late. I mean, I don't have a cutoff time. If you do, I understand.
Nah, I want to keep these short and stuff, and I just want to nerd out on music with you for a little bit and stuff. But
hell yeah.
But plugs, anything social media? Do you have anything else coming up? Zoom comedy shows or anything?
I'm really proud to have and surprised to have been named. You had made mention to it earlier, but if you look up on KSAT.com, look up Larry Garza. I was named one of the 25 most influential Latinas in San Antonio this year.
That's amazing,
which is crazy
man.
To me.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's a crazy list. I don't know how the fuck I made it. It's because Cleta's on WOAI, so I guess I'm next in line for KSAT. But they did a really honest interview with me on Zoom. I'm real proud of it. So if you look, just Google Larry Garza, and then follow me on Instagram at Larry Garza Comedy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do any live shows anytime soon. I mean, until I get my results and the AOK from. Like, if my kids can't go to school, why the fuck am I going to go do comedy shows? I mean, it's pretty selfish.
No, I get that, man.
But go to my Instagram and buy some merch. That'll help me out. Fucking Venmo me at Larry Garza if you feel sorry for me.
There you go, man. Thanks for doing this, man. Take care of yourself.
All right, brother. Thank you, Patrick.
All right, have a good night, man.